Today, it's a game update. Supremacy 1914 is updated the game. We're going to discuss forts, which is today's update. And at the end of it, I'm going to discuss an older industrialization update. Yeah, so what's happening? So they're balancing the forts. Now, this should be pretty obvious. We can all read. What you should notice is forts 1 and 2 can be built quicker, 24 to 8 hours. That's much quicker. 24 to 16 hours. Now remember, this is if you were 100% morale. Early game, it's not going to take 8 hours. There'll be a 30% drop from that. This minimum conditions in the early forts. Now the minimum conditions is when it starts working. So once it's at 25% of its construction health, then it starts working, which is great. What that means is anyone can build a fort. If you see someone coming at you, just because it'll take probably 4 hours, you can easily just build it because now it's 8 hours. For fort level 2, you can see it's also reduced in time. The defense bonuses for both these forts are reduced, which is good. Everyone wants to build a level 5 fort at the end. And so having the early level forts be built quicker are not as potent still allows them to be useful. Now the HP has doubled. That will really help keep the fort going for much longer. Fort won't be wiped out in a couple hits. It could be very detrimental, and it'll also be really hard to fight a competent human player in the early game. For level 3, slight changes. I want to focus on 4 and 5. 4 and 5 is when the times increase, so it actually takes longer. Look, level 4 fort takes 32 hours. Level 5 fort takes 40 hours. And I think that's good. I'd rather be able to build some type of fort quickly and then take a longer time to get to a higher level fort. It allows you to break through an enemy line and not have to deal with days and days and days of forts breaking through all their lines right here. What they didn't tell us is when units become invisible in a fort. It was level 2 like a year ago, and then they changed it to level 3. Didn't remember seeing the update for that, but it's still at level 3. When I say still, I mean as of yesterday. With this new update, I'm still assuming it's level 3, that units can hide. It would have been nice if they just reiterated where invisibility shows up in the forts. But what does this mean? This means forts are going to play a better role. Now, I play with early game forts. This is going to benefit me. People don't like forts. I fought many people who don't like to build forts, and it's just been really easy to steamroll them in. Now, let me show you an example of how just to do forts in general and why you would want them. I'm playing Mesopotamia, and I have an opponent right here, a potential opponent. What you want with an early game fort is you want it as an act of deterrence. So you can see I have no one to my north besides an AI, and I have a bunch of human players here. My goal is to break through here and then here and guard the lakes here and guard here. Now, you could watch the Let's Play when it comes out, but what is happening? I need to build forts. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to build a fort here. My goal for the fort is to be an act of deterrence. This player will see that I have a fort, and he'll be like, oh, I don't want to deal with him. Oh, this is too much to deal with. Then, as I industrialize and I build up my resources and things like that, I'll start building forts all across the line. Because I told you, as I go for oil, I want to create a defensive line. Because I have 2 double material resource provinces, I will build a fort right here, right when I take this. And the reason is I want to show this person I'm serious. Wars don't happen that are uncomfortable unless they're absolutely necessary to win. This guy will probably keep moving on if I build a fort here. But yeah, I look at my province here. It's at 70 morale. You can see it's 8 hours and 53 minutes. It added an extra hour because it's not 100% morale. But this is great. 8 hours, it'll take a long time for someone to get you. People are going to start using forts much more often, which they should be. This is going to be great. There's going to be a lot more trench warfare, which the game has been lacking. Bytro, I think, did a great job incentivizing trench warfare with this update, and I think this is a good move. Now, this one's older. It's from late July, but they updated the factories and the railways, the aerodromes, and Calvary. Now, this is huge. What I would do is you can't build a railroad until day 5. Now they're changing to day 3. I would save up my materials, my wood and steel, and then mass produce railways at my double province resources on day 5. Now that it's day 3, because they got rid of day 5, I won't have to just stockpile resources. I can immediately just dump it into the railway. This also may change my strategy around building balloons and barracks in the early game. I may just bring those down to 1 and 1. They added cavalry speed. So cavalries are now 12 hours. This is great. Cavalry, this move completely eliminates the armored car into existence. And my armored car video is coming out this weekend. This just nails armored cars into the grave, because an armored car is going to steal resources away from industrializing your railways, and a cavalry does not. Cavalry costs food. Yes, the barracks cost some wood, but that's why I recommend probably building 1 now. You also shouldn't build barracks if you're hurting on food. But then there's the factories. Since the railways change, the factories probably won't be noticeable to me. It'll just feel like the game got a lot quicker. My thinking is I never build a factory in a spot that doesn't have a railway yet. And I never build a factory in a single province resource. So by reducing this by 2 days, it's great. It's going to speed up the game for people who are more economic focused. And you have to be economically focused, because if you expand too big, your target morale will lower. Let's look at that. Here you can see my morale. You can see my target morale right here is 98. The factories, the railroads, the forts, the harbors all bring that target morale up higher. And the morale influences that are negative will increase as you expand. Now this is day 1, so there's not much going on besides being close to a neighbor. Building railroads, factories is a must. And railroads are honestly more important than a factory, because railroads give you resources, a large amount of resources, and factories give you a small amount, 8% compared to 33%, consume resources because you're going to start building fancy toys. And if you can't build a factory right away, you can't build the fancy toys, which stops you from wasting your resources because you need to build a railway. Here you can see morale development. Morale development's at 4%. So what would that do? That would increase my target morale here from 98 to 102. Now that's very small, but look at railways. Their morale development's 15%. They have to be built in this game. Now you have to be strategic on how you build them, but that's a different topic. But there we are. Aerodromes going down. Again, that's great. That's fine. I don't actually consider this any different. That's fine. The way I build is I try to actually get to level 4 factories, and then I build an aerodrome and churn out airplanes just because they're so expensive. But that's great. I think that some people's play style is to get an airplane out earlier. You also have to deal with Zeppelins. People still have those Zeppelin cards. I know I do. I haven't used mine. And not having to worry about waiting could be just very convenient. I think these are great improvements, both of them. I'll talk to you Squid Bois later.